So I just wanted to make sure that I don't cross that boundary, even though, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. We're not only going to focus on health. Okay. Welcome. We are live on the Ripple Effect, I see. And we're have our guest who is on Quantum Leap, Pradnya Leitner, who is I'm excited to have here. My business coach, who's also really a life coach too. My two big goals continue to be one, health related, of my fitness, which we're going to do a quick check in before we get to Pradnya, and my business. So she's great at both. And I did want to first introduce my esteemed co-host and say I'm so excited to have her on with the interview with Pradnya, and I had Corey. So to all the influential people here to have a great discussion. So Erika, how are you? And if you don't mind doing a quick check-in.
Yeah, hi. Is my vertical garden making too much noise? I can unplug it if it is that noisy?
No, we don't even hear it.
The sound of water hydrating the roots behind me. So I'm good, David. I'm so happy to see you. It's like a reunion every week. We get on here on the Ripple Effect. And am I correct, Pradnya? You were just on before you were on the Quantum Leap.
Yes, I was.
Oh, double hitter today. Woohoo. Oh, that's exciting. How fun.
Thank you again. Thank you for having me.
Oh yeah, it's always fun to talk to you. And I'm so glad that you get to share with our audience. And you're always so of service. So thank you for your time today.
I am equally grateful that you have created the platform where you can continually offer value, right? It's all about the perspective. So thank you. Thank you.
And there's another connection between you two guys. You have the same business coach as well. Pradnya is a coach, and she has a coach in Caterina Rando, who we got to have back on soon. So yes. the Fempire.
Yeah, we would all be a whole bunch of us would be going on a little cruise with Caterina, but we decided to postpone. So we get to connect in other ways. Yeah.
Great. I'll do a quick check-in because I was actually looking forward to telling Erika some of this stuff, because she's kind of a health coach of mine, and in addition to co-host. So my main fitness goals, which I'm on the path to, but as my overarching goal, but I think it's important on our overall goal to set kind of smaller goals that are going to get us there. And one goal that I set is to get in good cardio shape. So, because I was thinking back to when I was, living up in Tahoe, flying airplanes, I was in the best shape of my life about 10 years ago. What was I doing, and the one thing I could do is I could just go run like 8 miles in altitude, no problem. And then I'd come down to the river and it'd even feel like I was like floating because the air difference, if you can run up in Tahoe. So I was like, if I can get to that, that'll get, I'll be almost there. So I'm going to just run, twice a week maybe, and then bike and then I did get my capsules, and the smoothies came. So I'm excited. I hit some roadblocks, but the big thing for me is cutting back on the coffee. So I've been making inroads there. So if I can run and cut back on the coffee, I'll be in good shape. Anyway, I'm going to get to Pradnya now, and first welcome her. And I did give a little testimonial earlier, but the practices she does, I still use every day. And also on the calls that we're on, they help with health goals. They help with business goals. We wanted to do some health-centric things because that's really the most important thing. It really starts with our health. But we don't feel like you only have to talk about health, Pradnya. So if you don't mind just introducing yourself to our audience and telling us who you are and what you do.
Lovely. I am a life and mindset coach for purpose and impact driven entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals. People who have meaningful, big goals in their heart because they know they are capable of that contribution and making that difference in people's lives. And what I do is really help open up people's mind to see what's possible for them, because our belief system keeps us locked into where we're at. And once I help them set a goal that they previously thought unattainable, then it's a matter of step by step helping them transform their thinking, their mindset, their beliefs, their behaviors, their habits, and thereby ultimately their results. So it's really getting to the root cause as opposed to just focusing on external things and then falling back into, the rabbit hole again. And once you eradicate the root cause, which is again in your subconscious mind, you're able to get to the results much faster and with less effort. Does that help, Dave?
Yeah. I don't know if you have Erika, feel free to go off script and ask another tidbit if you need to.
I can't wait to share with you something that was happening for me over in Las Vegas this weekend with a powerful experience we had. But Pradnya, I know that you offer so much light to people, especially right now. And just what are you seeing right now, and what are your super tips, or for right now for people? If that is that too big a question, or is that okay?
It is a wonderful question. It's a broad question. I'll just say a few things. And thank you, Erika. I always like to hear from you. You have a servant leader's heart, and you know that. Um, you know, the pandemic has been going on for now close to 2 years. We can let it weigh on us, bring us down, or we can still continue to count our gratitude moments and then lift ourselves up. So, in a nutshell, the outside, look again, let me speak slowly. There are two environments that we operate in all the time. One is the external environment that still has Delta and Omicron and a lot of variants, right? Outside, still restrictions, outside environment. But there is that internal environment. Your body, and speaking of health, we'll come to this later on, your body truly is an instrument of the mind. And mind is your pure consciousness. I mean, if you look at it from a neuroscience perspective, mind is brain in action, the thoughts, the emotions, the beliefs, the interpretations, the judgments, right? The vibration. And again, the list can go on. So there's an internal environment. And if we're letting the outside continually dictate where we are internally, we will feel discouraged, demotivated, disappointed, frustrated, angered, irked, all of that. But on contrary, if we say, I'm observing what's happening outside, but I choose to focus on what I'm grateful for, what's going well for me despite the pandemic, then you will climb up from these negative emotions, which by the way cause health havocs over time anyway, and you will be in a place of neutrality. You will feel a bit more optimistic, hopeful, expectant, joyful, finding your peace of mind, regardless of the outside circumstance. And when I say this, I do want to mention one important thing. When I say we delineate between outside and inside, does not mean we do not take responsibility to be the change agents to cause the change outside over time. But, let me put it this way. When Nelson Mandela was in the jail cell for 27 plus years, internally, he had to see the change that he could bring about in South Africa when the outside was quite to the contrary. So he didn't say, I'm just having peace in my mind, I wouldn't cause any change, but he could cause the change because his internal environment was completely guided and directed by him as opposed to the external environment. I know that was a mouthful, Erika, but I hope that it helps.
I can hear in how you're saying what you just said, all the certainty of what you've witnessed. Like you help people vision bigger than themselves, right? Like, so it blows the roof off the roof, right?
Yeah, but that is because, our belief system absolutely dictates where we will go. And you think, oh, you know what, my goal, I'm going after this goal. But our imagination to a great extent is controlled by our conditioned state of consciousness or belief system. So we don't think something is plausible. And a very cheesy yet powerful example, Roger Bannister, when he broke the, 4 mile, running that 4 mile under a minute span, right? many people had that sort of a mental barrier. But when he broke the record, he broke the mental barrier for these people. And then 1 month, 2 months, 3 months down the line, people from around the world could surpass first match and then surpass that record. So really think, where are these limitations, in your mind or externally? Now, some are external. I can't develop wings. So there are some external limitations, but they're far beyond the mental limits that we pose on ourselves. So you're spot on. People have to really take the lid off of their imagination, understand the creative process. Everything is created twice. Begin in here by tapping into, what do I really want? What do I want to trade my life for? And then just listen to the answer.
Yeah, I'll give a brief testimony on the process too, because this is something I found the hardest about referring Pradnya is she does so much and a lot of it's abstract, that how do you kind of simplify it to get people to not be, one, intimidated by it, but also understand it and have them feel connected to it. And I think some of it's just scratching the surface of these different things. But for example, one of the, we really are what we think. And once you really need a coach to be able to help you find your goal and your purpose. And that's something that she really starts with, is that clarity on your goal, what you really want. And it's not, Proctor uses the thing about, it has to be what you really want. You shouldn't be able to know how you can get it. I think most people, they don't hit their goals because they set the wrong ones. They think too low. So but then she really sets up this mindset process of, it's daily practice. It's a number of these teachings of, the big thing is self-image, of how do you become the person that can accomplish that goal? And it's really a daily practice. It's a process of success. I know you call it an owner's manual for how to succeed. And, this was kind of, I was going to answer part of this question and then just turn it over to you to get your thoughts, but about how do you start generating this quantum leap? That was the name of the last show, and I've already kind of alluded to some of this stuff, but how would you describe that initial process of, because really that first 3 months can be such a life change. You almost could seemingly go nowhere, but that's really the seeds of your success later in what you do.
I said this on the previous interview session too. David, you're a incredible interviewer, very insightful. And then Erika is, a partner in crime in a good way. I'll speak to both sides, and please allow me to speak succinctly in the interest of time. People really have to start to understand that in order to change their results, they have to change, right? But who the heck are they? I did not know it. I think I said it many times before. I studied biomedical engineering as a pre-medical student, right? And then corporate world, all kinds of training, executive training, sales training, leadership training. How come Pradnya never understood who she really is? To cut to the chase, you're not your name. You're not the body that you live in. You're not even your brain or your nervous system. You're not even your mind. You are an energetic or a spiritual being. You are pure consciousness. You might say, well, what the heck? How deep is she going? But this is the absolute truth. Simply put, you're an energetic, spiritual being who lives in that body of yours and who has mind. But nobody ever taught this to us. So we don't use our mind and our very ability to think deliberately, consciously, and accurately to be able to steer us in that direction. So this is the prerequisite, Dave, and that is what you're talking about. To be able to make a quantum leap, you have to understand what you're changing. Where are you growing? Once you understand that, then with that understanding, you can follow the process. So again, in a truncated manner, to be able to make a quantum leap, you understand the primer that I talked about, and then you permit yourselves to go after what it is that you absolutely deeply desire, even at the moment of decision, it seems seemingly impossible. Okay. Then you identify, where you're at is a reflection of your current ways of thinking, believing, feeling, vibrating, and acting. Then you start using your powerful mind, and there is a detailed process to it. I'm just, extrapolating, truncating. Then you understand, how do you have to start showing up differently to close the knowing doing gap? And when you start understanding the functioning of the mind, you know how to form habits and get your body to move like the person who accomplishes your goal, not in a facetious way. You don't, fake it till you make it. You be that person until you have that goal, right? And that is where the self-image work comes in, where you really develop that inner self-image of what your conception of who you are. And then, I mean, the list can go on, but again, cultivating the belief at a much deeper level, right? Being able to guide your mind on literally moment by moment basis. You might say, well, that's painful. No, it's not. Brushing your teeth is not painful. Every morning, every night you brush your teeth. Putting a lipstick on, or maybe doing your hair when you come on camera, it's not painful. So it's just unfamiliar. It's not something that we're accustomed to. But when we learn to work on our mindset just for half an hour a day, knowing that it really brings way more productivity in the day, you really start acting like a person who would accomplish that quantum leap. And I'll wrap it up on this, David. We talked about mindset work is like sharpening the axe, right? So imagine I say, I don't have half an hour. It's a waste of my time. Well, and I'm not doing the mindset work. And then I'm chopping all these trees. But with that blunt axe, how many trees can I cut? When I've sharpened the axe, in the same amount of time, I can probably cut twice as many trees. And that is the concept. When you work on your mindset, and it's way deeper, you really let, the universe come to your aid in helping you birth your dream. So I'll wrap it up there.
Great. And Erika, this is a good exercise in that feel free to ask any follow-up questions, because if we can explain this to you and have you understand it, then we can explain it better, So do you have any follow-up questions on that, or about kind of what and I know you guys have talked before and you've heard Pradnya speak. So to the brand new layman, we're probably already way deeper.
We've gone way deep in. We're way deep in. Yeah, so I just wonder if, just for thinking about people who might be tuning in who don't know you and your amazing work, like, what does it look like for people to, learn more from you? Do you have a group experience or a workshop or some way where people can come and hear more of you, Pradnya? And just tell us about what's the first steps for people, because I'm curious, and then people tuning in can then take their next step.
Yes. Oh my goodness. That is so kind of you to help people seek that bridge, right? I'll give you a twofold answer. Again, I'll keep it succinct. First and foremost, okay? I want to, and not you, Erika, per se, but our viewers, I want them to think about it. When a hypnotist tells the subject, because the hypnotist has hypnotized the subject and tells the subject, you're touching a red hot iron, when indeed the subject is simply touching the pencil, okay? Stay with me for a second. And then the subject, during that hypnotic session, develops a blister on his or her finger. So think hard. What did your nervous system respond to? There was no red hot iron out there. You were touching a cold wooden pencil. Your nervous system accepted that suggestion and it produced that physical manifestation or outcome of that, okay, which is a blister. So that is really hopefully giving you an idea that you and I are accepting suggestions all day long, not just issued by the external world, but many are issued by yourself and myself. That's the mental diet, and that's why you have to have a healthy diet, but a mental diet that goes with the healthy diet to really bounce back to full health. So now to come to how can I really serve you and help you understand this better, I have just created a group called Growth and Fulfillment Mindset, because I truly believe fulfillment comes from doing the work that you're meant to do, right? So Growth and Fulfillment Mindset, and again, it is for purpose and impact-driven entrepreneurs, professionals, and individuals. So I can share the link with David or post it, underneath this video. You're welcome to join me. And what you will see there is that on a weekly basis, I will have posts that are thought provoking because somebody had to wake me up. I wasn't born this way. Let's be very blunt about it. Okay. I will have videos periodically done where you will understand some of these concepts and you allow yourself to warm up to these. You don't brute force it. And then in the last week of February, we're hosting a mini training session. We're calling it, it's the mindset method. And that is where I will take a deeper plunge, but in a very sequential baby step way, where I will encourage the participants to do the work. We connect on a call for 30, 35, max 45 minutes. You take in the concepts from that day and you apply it. You do the work. You pull out the notebook and a pen. And as you do the work, you start connecting the dots yourselves. And then from that way, when you really gain the awareness, my follow-on message can really speak to your heart. And again, that series would be a 5-day session. So you will have plenty of time to apply, internalize what I'm saying, and also ask questions that I can tackle. So I hope this was helpful. And in addition, if you ever care about what do I say, what do I talk about, I do tone it down when I post content on my social media. Even though it's deep, I don't go into, like really, really deep. So you can read some of the content and the videos that I have there to really kind of dip your toe in the water.
Yeah, and we will put that link in the comment section a bit later on this afternoon when I get back from picking up making the school run. I did want to ask question 6, Erika, but feel free. We can go off script for some of the other questions. But
I'm so glad you have the script because I'm not looking at the script. I am sans script today. So I think you just keep going with your script.
Okay.
I'm just excited to be here. And I always have more things to jump in to say and to ask Pradnya. So ask your question. Let's see what we have time for.
Yeah. And, I presented last week at BNI and somebody that before I presented on Power Partners, which is another BNI thing, that really a global business thing. They asked me what my secret to success was. And I said something to that effect, that it really comes down to, energy, frequency, and vibration, that you have to match the frequency and the vibration of where you want to be. And, there's this great Einstein quote on this that I don't remember word for word. Pradnya, I'm sure, knows it. Really, and it goes back to what I was saying before, that we got to be the person who's going to be able to accomplish that goal. If we're not that person now, we got to become that person. And a lot of it's awareness and just work and a little bit every day. And I think, that way you set up this powerful law of attraction to where everything you need, all the resources, is attracted into your life somehow. You got to take action to make that work, but and it takes a while. But I think with that consistency, I know John Maxwell I was listening to say a lot of times 10 years of consistency, nobody sees it, but once they start seeing that consistency, it pays off even more. Than you almost get more credit than you think you deserve for it. So I don't know, Pradnya, if you don't mind describing this concept of energy, frequency, and vibration. If you do know that Einstein quote by heart, I'd love to hear it. But
I am laughing because Erika just said, you guys come to the shallow water, and we're just going deep. But all right, I'll still try to keep it pretty much high level. But yes, it is a little deeper concept. And then I want to just make sure we wrap it up by 12:35 because dear Erika also has a meeting coming up. Couple of things that are coming to my mind. You said about John Maxwell, and I'll come to the point in just a moment. If you look at Chinese bamboo tree, I think it takes it about 5 years or so when the sprout or when the seed is just sprouting and germinating and all of that stuff that's happening inside the soil, like in the soil, in the ground. And then it like shoots up however many feet or meters that it shoots up to. So that is the truth. There is something called compound effect. So I'm totally like 200% with John Maxwell. And in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration, I mean, I must attest to who David has become. I mean, you see it on, and I'm not trying to reciprocate anything or compliments here, but he really has evolved from within, and he's showing up to serve as a servant leader's, with a servant leader's heart. And that is the transformation that has happened in him. He's not faking it, he's being that. And that is what he's talking about. So the Einstein quote is that, everything is energy, and match the frequency of your desire, and you can't help but make that a reality. It is not, metaphysics, it is physics, right? It is physics. So if I have to boil it down, I'll use an example and then I'll dive just a little bit deeper on this topic. I was talking to my now 8-year-old, Sophie, in the car. And I said, Sophie, there are different channels here. And we were on FM radio. I wasn't listening, but I said, look, Sophie. And then I touch one particular station. Let's just say I touch, I don't know, 88.9 when I could have been on 101 point, whatever, 3. Okay. Now, when I'm on 88.9, does that mean there is no music whatsoever at 101.3? No, there's plenty of music. Even in the car, those electromagnetic frequencies and the music is available, but I haven't tuned into 103.1. I have tuned into 88.9. So that's the music that I hear. So I can't see the music around me. It's still there, that frequency. The tuner allows me to tune into it. And what's this got to do with our goals and our health and our growth, right? I'll break it down in 4 minutes here. Everything is energy. And again, please, none of this is voodoo. I've said this once before, just to give you an understanding that science is close to my heart. I studied biomedical engineering, right? Everything is energy. Everything operates in a wavelength and has its own frequency. We know that this universe is energetic universe, and like frequency attracts another like frequency. So when you internally, with your ways of thinking and belief and emotional state, and that's what we call vibration. Vibration is nothing but conscious awareness of the feelings that you're having, right? And or rather, feeling is a conscious awareness of the vibration that you're in. So that is what vibration is, energetic state. And when you become a match, when your thoughts, feelings, beliefs, and vibration is on that particular state, you literally start bringing into your physical reality the people, the circumstances, the events, the situations and resources that you need, that previously when you set the goal were probably not even visible to you. That's why Stephen Covey, who operated in the corporate world, said, begin with an end in mind. Because if your mind, again, everything is created twice, in your mind, if you're able to see the end and stay there and guide your emotional state from that place, you will see your body moving into inspired action, because your body literally is the instrument of the mind. It expresses the operations of the mind. So that would be the extent to what I can discuss on call today. David, does that help?
Yeah, that's great. I think the interesting thing to note, and that's still something that really amazes me, is, and I was in my 20s, I read all these philosophers since the beginning of time, and all these works of literature and all this stuff. They might touch on it in Plato or Aristotle or some of the early Greeks, but you don't see it in a system anywhere written down. And maybe, so I think you need somebody like you to kind of tell you what you need to know. I know we actually have it now, maybe in Proctor, or maybe there's some books that you can recommend, but you actually really have to live it and put it into practice. You can't just read it.
You're so spot on in it. And allow me to make this comment, and then we'll wrap up the meeting, right? Even though we haven't learned the science at the level of depth that I'm talking about, we do say, Erika, you and I say, hey, we're on the same wavelength. Your message resonated with me. And in physics, we call it harmonic resonance. The like frequency attracts another like frequency. And we feel it, we know it, we just haven't learned the specifics of it. And what David, you said is so spot on. You and I can understand this and become pundits in articulating it, but our lives will not change if we don't embody it, internalize it, and apply it. We have to become these concepts and not just talk about them. You see? And that is where, again, I think mentoring comes in, because you get immersed in the material, just like you learn language via immersion. You get immersed in the material and you start, your ability or extent to which you apply keeps improving day after day.
Yeah, and I'll just say a lot of the literature written down didn't come about until really the early 1900s. And I think the leadership stuff and a lot of the new stuff didn't really even come about until the 1980s and 90s. So I really see it as such an emerging science. And, as they say, they really should teach this stuff in school, and, maybe in our lifetime they will. But if you have any, you wanted to share something, Erika, before we wrap up?
Yeah, I just love what you're saying, Pradnya. And I just came back from this, training with my health company, where we had an opportunity to pack up these bags for serving people in need on the Strip in Las Vegas. And there's like a bunch of people just like strung out, just flat out on the ground, napping or hungover. I'm not really sure exactly what was going on for every person, but I definitely have as a therapist, I definitely had my radar. And then handing out these bags of snacks, definitely with a cute little message on it. I'll show you the picture of the, let's see if I can find so let's see if I can pull this up for you guys. This little bag, can you see that?
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Yes, I'm a blessing.
Yeah, and then in smaller print, it says, this is a gift from a friend wishing you health and happiness. So we packed up like 8 bags to hand out to people in, just as we were walking around the area of the Strip, we were handing it out to people that were in need. And it was just an amazing experiment in energy. And then that rippled out into the rest of our weekend. And it was a beautiful metaphor for all the other energy that we're creating with our projects and our purpose and our mission and our vision. And it was just sort of like, we've been vibrating since we've been back. So I bet you've done experiments like this. And I bet you offer, things like this with people, like to get out of your comfort zone and to do something that you wouldn't normally do unless someone gave you a little nudge. Yeah.
It's the experience that maybe was occasional that literally jolted your energy, which is beautiful. But here's the thing, Erika, if I may leave you with this, the people on the streets and you and I, there is nothing different. Okay, we might be educated, this and that, right? But the power to build their life is equally in them as it is in us. But the only thing that they miss is the true understanding of it and thereby application of it. And that's why they are where they're at today. And so absolutely, I think it's a powerful mission to be able to not only help them, but also over time educate these people. David, this goes back to what you were saying, educating children, because they're the future citizens and leaders, right? So if we could do this, we will fix so many problems of the world.
Yeah, even just being exposed to it on kind of a smaller thing. If it was like, they teach like they require 1 semester of economics and your junior or sophomore, senior year. But well, great. Yeah, and reminded me earlier of that Lady Gaga song, "We're Far from the Shallows Now." But we'll end it there. And thanks a lot for coming on and talking about these concepts. And I always find people aren't going to understand everything at first glance, but they'll see that there's more there. And I do look forward to helping promote more of your ideas, and we'll have you back soon in the second half of this year at some point.
Yeah, thank you again for the opportunity. And Erika, I promise I'll share the link. So anybody who wants to learn more, they're welcome to come join the group.
Look forward to talking with you more, Pradnya. And it's so great to see you in this early 2022.
Yes, likewise, dear. So have an amazing day, guys, and talk to you soon.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.